Hong Kong and Macau aren't independent countries, but you will get your passport stamped when traveling from those territories to mainland China. And then there's Taiwan, which is officially called the Republic of China. These countries have quite a controversial geographic status, violating which could even trigger a full scale war from China. According to China, these territories are part of the Greater China. In the English language, the term greater is often used to suggest a greater economic and demographic region that spans administrative borders. Although the specific term Greater China is fairly a recent one, it has quite a long pedigree. The most recent usage of the concept of Greater China first emerged in Chinese language sources in the late 1970s, largely to discuss the expansion of economic ties between Hong Kong and mainland China that was resulting from the post-Mao reforms, and to highlight the prospects that a similar growth might occur in the commercial relations between Taiwan and the mainland. The country that is always referred to as China, which everyone knows as China, is officially called the People's Republic of China. Hong Kong and Macau are part of China's one country, two systems principle. It is the constitutional principle of the People's Republic of China describing the governance of Hong Kong and Macau since they became special administrative regions of China in 1997 and 1999 respectively. The British had taken control of Hong Kong in 1842 after the First Opium War. In 1898, the British government and the Qing dynasty of China signed the Second Convention of Peking, which allowed the British to take control of the islands surrounding Hong Kong known as New Territories on lease for 99 years. London promised Peking that the islands would be returned to China after the expiry of the lease in 1997. Macau, on the other side, had been ruled by the Portuguese from 1557. They started withdrawing troops in the mid-1970s. In the 1980s, Deng's China initiated talks with both Britain and Portugal for the transfer of the two territories. In talks, Beijing promised to respect the region's autonomy under the one country, two systems proposal. On December 19, 1984, China and the UK signed the Sino-British Joint Declaration in Beijing, which set the terms for the autonomy and the legal, economic, and governmental systems for Hong Kong post-1997. Similarly, on March 26, 1987, China and Portugal signed the Joint Declaration on the Question of Macau, in which China made similar promises for the region of Macau after it was handed over to Beijing. The principle is that upon reunification, despite the practice of socialism in mainland China, both Hong Kong and Macau, which were the colonies of the UK and Portugal respectively, can retain their established system under a high degree of autonomy for up to 50 years after reunification. However, what will happen after 2047 to Hong Kong and 2049 to Macau has never been publicly stated. So Hong Kong is a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China. It is part of China but has a high degree of autonomy, which in simple terms means that Hong Kong retains its own separate economic, legal and administrative system and even its own passport. The same is the case with Macau. Hong Kong is one of the world's leading financial centers and its currency is the 9th most traded in the world, helped by the fact that it is the 10th largest exporter and 9th largest importer. Instead of being a hub for commerce and finance like Hong Kong, Macau is a hub for gambling. In fact, Macau generates 7 times more gambling revenue than Las Vegas does. There are many casinos and the territory ranks 9th worldwide in terms of tourism revenue overall. Now coming to Taiwan, it is a state located on an island around 160 kilometers off of the People's Republic of China's southern coast across the Taiwan Strait. The often repeated dictum about Taiwan's territorial status was not widely held within China in 1895, the year that the Qing dynasty ceded Taiwan, which it had annexed in 1684 to Japanese colonization. When Qing officials received Japan's territorial demands in the wake of the First Sino-Japanese War, they ardently defended the Liaodong Peninsula in Manchuria as essential imperial territory, but viewed Taiwan as a shield that could be surrendered. Although some individuals insisted that Taiwan must be retained or at least not surrendered to Japan, most viewed it as less important than Liaodong. While in 1949, the Chinese government fled to Taiwan, which was then part of China when the Communist Party of China took control of the mainland during the Chinese Civil War, leading to the current situation. Since then, two Chinas have existed, although the PRC was not internationally recognized at the time. The Republic of China government received Taiwan in 1945 from Japan. Technically, Taiwan refers to itself as China. The official name of Taiwan is the Republic of China. Politically, Taiwan is a multi-party democracy while China is a unitary one-party socialist republic. While China has a population of 1.4 billion, Taiwan has a population of only 24 million. China has no actual control over the island of Taiwan, but they consider Taiwan to be a part of China. Taiwan has been governed independently of China since 1949, but Beijing views the island as a part of its territory. Beijing has vowed to eventually unify Taiwan with the mainland using force if necessary. So Taiwan isn't a part of the United Nations because mainland China strongly advocates for the One China policy. They refuse diplomatic relations with any country that recognizes Taiwan, isolating Taiwan on the international scene. Cross-strait tensions have escalated since the election of Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen in 2016. Tsai has refused to accept a formula that her predecessor Ma Ying-jeou endorsed to allow for increased cross-strait ties. Meanwhile, Beijing has taken increasingly aggressive actions, including flying fighter jets near the island. Some analysts fear a Chinese attack on Taiwan has the potential to draw the United States into a war with China. Beijing claims that Taiwan is bound by an understanding known as the 1992 Consensus, which was reached between representatives of the Chinese Communist Party and the Kuomintang Party that then ruled Taiwan. However, the two sides don't agree on the content of this so-called consensus, and it was never intended to address the question of Taiwan's legal status. Most people in Taiwan support maintaining the status quo. A small number support immediate independence according to opinion polls conducted by National Cheng Chi University. Even fewer express support for the unification of Taiwan with China. An overwhelming majority reject a one country, two systems model. But Taiwan's economy remains reliant on trade with China, which is the island's largest trading partner. However, their economic relationship has experienced disruptions in recent years, partly due to Beijing's pressure on the island and Taiwanese officials' growing concern about its over-reliance on trade with China. Meanwhile, Taiwan has become a dominant power in the global semiconductor industry. Roughly 75% of the world's integrated circuit capacity is based here. That's mostly down to Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, the world's largest foundry and go-to producer of chips for Apple Incorporation smartphones, artificial intelligence, and high-performance computing. Taiwan's role in the world economy largely existed below the radar until it came to recent prominence as the auto industry suffered shortfalls in chips used for everything from parking sensors to reducing emissions. The complex political situation can be hard to understand but simple enough to stir controversy.